Different from the last time. Actually, last time I filmed this was Virginia, like years ago.
Correct. So let's step back and say what's still the same.
Right.
From then, it still has a factory Mopar block.
Right.
It still has a factory transmission and transfer case.
Okay.
And it has a factory fuel tank. They brought it to us. Obviously, it had already gone 180.
Right.
So that's a pretty good achievement right there. But we decided, look, if we're gonna push this thing, it's not just gonna be fix the motor and go back out and do the same thing.
Yep.
Because we're stuck there. And they knew before that they were out of gear. They knew they were out of gear. The factory gear ratio on these is 373.
Okay.
And they were coming across the finish line pegging the rev limiter.
Right.
7,000 RPM. It goes bah, 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 at all the half-mile events. We swapped to a 307 gear set. Okay. So now, starting from the back to the front, it's got a Western 9-inch differential with a strange Pro HD aluminum case, Paramount transfer case, Paramount Super Pro transmission with a trans brake. The power plant here is our engine program. We partnered up with TKM Performance out of North Carolina.
Right.
And our Hemi engine program is Dyno TKM Performance engines. It's a 420 cubic inch motor. It's got a Windberg billet crank, custom Carrillo rods, custom diamond pistons. It's got a half fill, top fuel hoops, copper head gaskets. It's running our custom 625H Inconel head studs, and then our custom made intake manifold. The turbo kit, aside from this portion right here, just this top intake tube, was already done. It was built by Stage 6 out of Jacksonville.
Okay, familiar with
and
that.
it was one of those things where it works, it does what it needs to do, it performs. There was no reason to go from that. So we upgraded the fuel system. It's a 4 Innovations fuel system, triple 450s, because we're running an E98, so we have a lot of fuel demand. And as you can see, if you remember from the last Jeep, the battery sits here from the factory. The fuse box and the TIPM all sit right here, and our goal was to clean out the engine bay and keep it as neat as possible. So as you saw on the panel in the back, we moved all the electronics to the rear.
Okay.
And that required a completely proprietary wiring harness. You can see the three aerospace can plug connectors over there. That is the engines. That is all that there's wiring harness under the hood.
Right.
That's a Precision Pro Mod 88. That's actually a Gen 1.
Okay.
That's an older style.
Right.
That's an older Ben's looking over your shoulder. That's an older style, and it's compared to their new Pro Mod turbos, it's really inefficient, and that may be something that as we move forward we look forward to. But as far as right now, it's gone really good. We had it refreshed obviously before we put it back in the mix of things, and it's done really well for us. We didn't really. Everyone always wants to know power numbers. Right. What kind of powers to make. Dyno's not the place where you lean on a car. Dyno's to make sure your tune's good. You know, it's a tool. We made 1,300 horsepower on 22 pounds of boost, and it's not loaded. Right. So, you know, I'm sure that the internet hate will be real after I assume power numbers, but the kind of boost we're putting through it right now at 25, 26, 27 pounds of boost, loaded out here, it's probably 1,500 change to the wheels. saw some of that. We gutted the doors, carbon fiber panels. The factory dash is still there. Everything behind it's gone.
Right.
Radio's gone, HVAC's gone. But the car still is street legal. It's got headlights, taillights, turn signals, tempered glass, both front windshield or windows go up and down. It's got obviously belts. Cool thing about it is people always ask if you can take passengers. We have another ergo seat for the passenger seat. And if you look in there, you see the belts wrapped up. It's got a 6-point harness for the passenger, and we can still put the rear seat back in, and you'll have 4-point harnesses for 2 passengers in the rear. If you want to go out and scare 3 of your closest friends at 180 plus miles an hour, then the ability is there. They had a bolt-in cage before. We sent it up to Jeff Miller Race Cars, Bumblebee Racing, and he put a full 10-point cage in it. Like I said, provisions for harnesses for passengers as well.
Do you have like a weight on it?
4505 with Skip in it.
Okay.
I think Ben outweighs Skip by probably 25 or 30 pounds.
Right.
So 430 to 435 pounds, or excuse me, 4530 to 4535.
Gotcha.
With Ben in it. At 20 pounds of boost, we go about 180, and we just went 190, 191 back at Heaven's Landing earlier this year.
So what's the process on that? Are you kind of tweaking things as you go here?
Our tuner is phenomenal.
Right.
The guy is the best at his craft, and fortunately, we really don't have to make many tweaks to the tune.
I gotcha.
We're just adding boost. We've had a few issues with the thing coming out of the hole. We had it at the track 2 weeks ago at Virginia Motorsports Park. It went 889 with the 307 gears in it. We were fighting slow 60-foot times all day, and we're trying to figure that out. The problem is, this is not a place for us to lean on it hard coming out of the hole. He's already driving it, 100 feet out, he's doing that.
Right, yeah.
So we've got to play the game of traction and power.
Right.
Even at this power level, all-wheel drive is great, but it's not perfect.
What can we expect to see the rest of the day?
We're going to keep turning it up.
Right.
We're going to keep turning it up. We made a small adjustment to go from 185. 185 pass, that was just the shakedown.
Right.
I said I didn't want to come out on kill on the first pass, but I also didn't want to waste, with the heat, with as warm as it's getting, I didn't want to waste a pass on wastegate.
Yeah.
Keep the car up for nothing.
You have to spend a reasonable amount of time cooling it
down. Exactly.
Yeah.
So fortunately, we do run the Mazir electric water pump. And we've got a fan override, so I can just kick this blower fan on here, flip the water pump on, it'll cool the motor off like that.
Yep.
Definitely want to give a shout out to our engine builder that we partnered up with, TKM, Kevin Mullins and the crew.
Yep.
They've been absolute godsend. Early on in our start into this market, there was always a desire for quality, from our perspective anyway, a quality engine shop.
Right.
And we bounced around from a few, and it was bad experience after bad experience, and he's the guy. He's definitely the guy. As far as giving some shout outs for a lot of things that have allowed us to push this thing to the next level. Obviously, Paramount Performance for the Super Pro transmission with the trans brake and the transfer case. Western differential for the rear diff, and then, like I mentioned earlier, Jeff Miller for the cage. And that's kind of the big pieces that allowed this thing to come together. I don't know if you noticed lights down here, the faux fog lights, and
Oh, wow, yeah.
we've actually got a grill cover. If we hit it at the end of the day, if it gets to the point where we're right there,
Yeah.
we'll put the grill cover back on. But the grill cover actually has, from the factory, you can see the power steering cooler and the AC condenser through the grill, and the stickers on the grill cover, you can actually see it through there.
Right.
And then obviously the graphics on the vehicle was courtesy of Elosh Design, Darren Elosh out of Ohio, and then Jeff Tate, Thunder Graphics in Joplin, Missouri. They paired up for us.